Over to the Cowboys, my team, and big thing for them is what they're going to do with Zeke and do with that running back room. Tony Pollard
Mhm.
set to be a free agent. I would expect them to give him the franchise tag because it's not. I think it's only like 13 million. Zeke, if he wants to be a part of the Cowboys, he's going to have to take a significant pay cut, which might work out in his favor because I don't know if you saw the reports, Grant, that were out earlier this week that a lot of the top scouts in the NFL don't think the only way he plays next year is on a league minimum contract
Ooh.
because his legs are done, which is unfortunate because when they paid him, I thought they were going to utilize him a lot different than just having him run the
Mhm.
ball. I thought if you're going to pay a running back, you need to use him out of in the passing game, something that he has shown that he's able to do early on in his career, but then Kellen Moore takes over and they just don't utilize him in the pass game at all.
Mhm.
Um and so if Zeke comes back, great. I think everybody knows that Pollard is the feature back of the offense, the featured player in the offense, and I want to hopefully he's able to recover from his injury that he had in the San Francisco game, and then I would like to see him draft a third running back or sign somebody like a Jet McKinnick who can come in and pass protect, similar to what Zeke is, but that's that's kind of what I'd like to see in the running back room is Pollard as the feature guy. Zeke, use him in certain situations where I'd like to almost see him where they just alternate possessions, and
Mhm.
then as the game wears on, kind of just
Whoever's got
go
the
ride the
hot
hot
hand.
hand. Yep, yep. And then on the offensive line, I know Connor McGovern's a free agent. Uh, Terrence Steele, he's coming off an injury, so we'll see how he does there. Tyler Smith has shown some bright spots. I would like to see him improve more in pass protection, which he was a rookie last year. I think another year in the weight room, another year in the system. I think you're going to see some good progression there in that. Dallas has proven to be knocking out of the park with drafting offensive linemen. So I trust Jerry and Steven and Will McClay in that aspect. So maybe draft somebody in that second, third round. I think I remember hearing that this is a fairly deep offensive line class. Um, I'd like them to also add more depth on the D line. As you watch the Eagles. I mean, they were just rotating guys out, and a good pass rush is always gonna. I would take a good pass rush over a good secondary because if you're consistently able to get to the quarterback, and it's gonna make those corners look a lot better because the quarterback doesn't have as much time to throw the ball. And which just is a good segue over is I think their first round pick, it has to be a cornerback. Trevon Diggs is coming into the last year of his contract. I think they're going to find a way to re-sign him. Hopefully, they get that done this year. And after that, Anthony Brown's set to be a free agent. Jordan Lewis is coming off an injury and also could possibly be a cap casualty, a cut, which would be unfortunate. He's one of my favorite players on the Cowboys, and going back to his time at Michigan, just a lockdown, solid. Still don't think I've been watching him play for well 10 years now because he's the same age as me. I don't think I've ever seen him miss a tackle. And after those three, I don't trust who they have on that roster. Nashawn Wright is isn't a starting cornerback in the NFL, and I don't even know some of the names they have on that in the cornerback room. And then resign. I'd like to see him resign Leighton Vander Esch. I think he showed had his best year since his rookie year last year. He was able to, for the most part, stay healthy. He missed a couple of games late in the season, but he had a really good playoffs. And I think in the Dan Quinn system, I think he Dan does a good job of utilizing his strengths and really showcasing what he's able to do. And he's the one that's making all your calls and checks on the defense, and he's the unquestionable leader. And hopefully, a guy like Micah Parsons can take the next step. Uh, DeMarcus Lawrence as well, build off what he did last year, because I was thinking he was going to get cut after this year. I thought he was done. He was washed up, but he played really well this year, which was good to see. And then back to the offense is they need to add a third receiver. CD's established himself as the number one go-to guy and well-deserved. Also somebody they're going to have to pay in the upcoming year. I think this year they can pick up his fifth-year option, which they will do. Michael Gallup is someone that I want to see that will be more effective, more efficient, more consistent. He was coming off an ACL, so maybe that was part of it. He's going to have an full off season to work with Dak and develop that chemistry again. But after that, they don't really have anyone. Noah Brown is a good receiver, but he's not consistent enough to be a third receiver. A couple of years ago, they had Cedric Wilson, who was a solid third receiver for him. And to his credit, he was so good. He went and got himself paid down in Miami. I would like to see Dallas. I think that's another potential first round pick to look at, is drafting a receiver depending on the value of who's there, or getting somebody in the second or third round, because the guys they took last year just has not panned out. And then there's questions at tight ends. It sounds like Dalton Schultz is not coming back. They've got two really nice young tight ends in Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot. They're young, and they were more used as blocking tight ends. We'll see if they can be more catching the ball. But I would like to see him go out and try to get a catching tight end, like a guy like a Mike Gesicki or somebody like that can go find ways and get open and be that red zone threat where Dak can rely on. That's always going to be open.
No, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, man. I mean, this Dallas team, they seem so close, but sometimes in the same way, so far away. But if you have a good offseason, you bring in the right pieces, they could make some noise in the NFC East again. I mean, they were only what, 2 games away this year, a game away from winning it this year. Oh. Oh. I just can't hear you, unfortunately. Oh. Hey, there you go. He's back.
Okay. What the heck? Maybe what happened is my mixer like disconnected. I had it on Bluetooth, and then all of a sudden it says it's connected. What the heck? Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, so I don't know what happened there. So, but anyways, back to you, what you were saying, because it cut out, so I was not able to hear you.
It seems like Dallas is so close, but sometimes they feel like yet they're so far away at the same time. And with that, when you mentioned McGovern as a free agent on the offensive line, are you looking to maybe add a guard center, a guard and tackle? What up front? How many pieces are you maybe looking for them to add?
I'm thinking more so at the guard, the left guard spot, with McGovern being a free agent. I like Biotish at center. Zach Martin at right guard. He's the best guard in the NFL. Terrence Steele, we'll see. They did sign Jason Peters. Maybe they can get him cheap. I think Tyron Smith is still also on the roster as well, but he's really can only play about 10 games a year.
Yep. And then also, to your point, Dylan, I think Dallas's biggest need, maybe not their biggest need, but is, to your point, that third wide receiver, or maybe even a second wide receiver, because can you trust Michael Gallup? CeeDee Lamb is the guy, but You got to think with Mike McCarthy taking over calling plays, he might want to go back to kind of what worked for him in Green Bay, where you're getting, 2 receivers, 3 receivers, and a tight end involved, and you're throwing the ball all over the field. So I think you're right. I think they're going to be aggressive in trying to, add that third receiver and get more weapons for Dak in this offseason because, like we said this year, Dak needs more around him. So, why not try to add another veteran playmaker who can help take the top off your defense and open up plays for CD?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is going to be, I think it's the right step. I never thought I would say this, but I think Mike McCarthy going back to calling plays, I think that could be the difference. Got that big play sheet. Hope now we can finally utilize it. Hopefully they have a little bit more where there's a little bit more it's less vanilla in a sense where Kellen Moore was great the first 15 plays, but you never saw him adjust after that. He was just out there calling plays. He never adjusted to what the defense was doing or when they were changing up. He never did anything to change. They just would run plays and hope it worked.
Yep.
I think with Mike calling the plays, I think there's going to be a little bit more creativity, and I think he's going to do a better job of adjusting in the game within the game.
Well, they'll run an offense actually.
Yes.
And not just plays.
So hopefully he learned from his time in Green Bay, but there's definitely reasons for optimism with the Cowboys, and hopefully they can stay healthy and get over that hump that's been looming over them for so long of not being able to get to an NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 2-horse race between them and the Eagles, and there hasn't been consecutive division winners since I don't even know when.
God, it's been a long time.
So it had to be like 05, 06 probably, or back when the Eagles were having their long runs.
Yeah, it would have been right around that time, like you said. 04, 05, 06, somewhere in there.
And I think I'm not even winning the division is nice where you get that home game, but Dallas, I mean, last year they went and beat Tampa in Tampa, which Tampa was not very good. But, I mean, Tony Pollard doesn't get hurt. Who knows how different that game is? Maybe Dallas finds a way to come out with a win. I think they have the player, the talent, and I think they've finally figured out the style to play with. They have a really strong defense, and they have a good running game where they can take the crowd out of it on the road and play that complementary football where the defense is going to travel.
Yep.
And as long as they avoid the ugly turnovers that have haunted them, they'll have a shot to win.
For sure.